Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Pflugerville. Okay? And today's topic is, what's it say? Oh, you didn't change it. The present moment is the only time to create change. So we're going to talk about a very interesting spiritual conversation. As a matter of fact, anybody who has read Eckhart Tolle's work, that's what we're going to talk about. And the present is where things happen. So we're going to talk about that. I feel the need to do some explanation. We've got a few folks that aren't part of our normal congregation. So in Unity, we have different definitions, okay? You being in Unity on the Hill, you would know. But it's interesting for me that for some reason, I'm going to go way out. I'm going to talk about my upbringing. I was raised in a very fundamentalist church, and frankly, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't believe that everybody was going to hell that didn't know Jesus, okay? And so it didn't make any sense in the overall scheme of things. And when I was first introduced, Madeline and I sat in a church, and I heard the different definitions. So those definitions have been very, very important for me. Okay, for example, we use a Bible translated by a guy by the name of George Lamsa. Okay, now Jesus and the tribes in Israel at that time spoke Aramaic. Everybody got that? They didn't speak Greek. They didn't speak anything other than Aramaic. And the Aramaic language was very romantic, very, very full of metaphors and those ideas. So sometimes things didn't translate exactly from that language into English, okay? For example, it says you must be born again, okay? And the idiom for that, which meant it was an interesting word, it meant you must change your mind. You must look at things differently. And we like to think it means we must look at things at a spiritual energy basis rather than a physical. Okay, and so in that world, it changes the context. Because we believe very, very strongly that the kingdom of heaven is within. We believe in what was said in the teachings. So that's what we're going to be talking about, some of that this morning. Okay? So there's a very, very interesting idea. Jesus, in one of his parables, talked about you must be ready at any moment. And when he was talking to the virgins, you must be ready at any moment to take advantage of the moment, okay? And that meant be present exactly to your thinking in what you were doing rather than wandering in your thinking, okay? So the word here, the present moment, is the only time to create change. And I felt the need to get involved in this conversation because what is happening is change occurs when we change our thinking. In other words, changes only occur when we change how we look into how we think. Science has pretty well proven that as we speak, as we think, we create our world around us. So in that conversation, we are constantly thinking and creating the world around us, okay? Now, there's a thing called the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is designed to store the information and use it as we go through life. And the subconscious mind just keeps repeating what we've learned. Okay? Anybody notice you keep living the same life over and over again? Okay? So it becomes a repetition of what we thought and all the experiences and what we believe. So it's a very, very interesting thing. And Jesus in the parable said, you must be ready to move at any time. Okay? Now, one of the key things to understand is that you are divine. You are the embodiment of consciousness. Jesus said you are the light of the world. As a matter of fact, in John, he also says, these things I do, ye shall do, and even greater things. So the idea is, yes, we believe in Jesus, but we also believe in what he taught. And what did he teach? He taught that the kingdom of heaven was within, which means what? What is the kingdom? Everything we're looking for. Okay? You can call it heaven, whatever it is. It's already there for us. Okay? Now, if you stop and think about this, that means that we have a thinking code that's perfect. Okay, so the kingdom of heaven is already there within us, and it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And then there's another place in the Bible where it says, for grace are you saved by faith, not of yourselves. So it's an open gift that we already have. The problem is we don't know it. We've forgotten it. And it's been lost in the day-to-day world. Anybody familiar with the word fear? Okay. So we have been overcome with all of these issues in life. I don't know about you, but I watch television occasionally, yes. And on the TV, there's all kinds of good stuff. Agreed? No. So it's a very, very interesting thing that we take in the things we've been told and trained to believe. And in today's world, we are bombarded with impressions. In the marketing areas, it used to say it would take 6 or 7 impressions or ideas for you to act. So they knew in advertising, if you heard something 6 or 7 times, you would act on what you heard. It's gone now way past 15, 20 times because there's an overload of information in the world today. And it's coming on TV, newspapers, books, everywhere. Anybody have neighbors that talk? Okay, so everybody in the world has their opinions, and we are busy filtering those opinions out. Now, I didn't mean to go this deep, but we're going to talk. We do have a portion of our brain that's called the reticular activating system. It's actually in the stem, and it filters out things you don't need to know. I'll say it again. It filters out automatically things you don't need to know. And those things are the things that you don't believe are true. In other words, it's a filter that says yes or no. And it's based upon what you've been told is true and what your programming is. And the reason for the reticular activating system, and I don't know why I'm getting into science, but anyway, we are. And the idea behind it is that it only allows certain information through. The reason for it is there's so much information coming in, and the brain can only process so much. So we had to be made with this filter, which eliminates things we don't need to hear. So it literally filters things out. Okay? Now, I'm trying to remember some ideas behind that. But has anybody ever had people that don't hear what you're saying? And literally, they're not ready to hear it. Okay? Say again?
They're called teenagers.
Well, again, it's called consciousness too, because the more information we accumulate, the more we know, the more we're aware of. Okay? And I'm not going there. So there's that happening all the time. Okay? And so we become what we have been told is true. So generally, if you're right, perfect example, right? You just tried to go home to where you were born. Was it different? Yeah, see different cultures, completely different conversation in a group or in a consciousness, okay? So that's where life is. So if you're born into this religion, this is what you believe. If you're born into this family, this is what you believe. We do it that way. Lots of stories about things, okay? Anybody here have traditions in your family? How about Christmas? See, and all these things are traditions that become, this is true, okay? And we're told that we're either, stop and think about this, what are we told? Okay, unfortunately, in a lot of major religions, we're told that we're guilty, we're sinful, we're going to go to where? Hell? Is that it? So this is a picture that comes in, and the truth is, we've been told that you're divine, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, that what Jesus did, you might be able to do at some point in time. So there's a breakdown in this whole conversation, and part of it occurs in the present moment. Now, I don't know how I got myself into this. Are you ready? The way the subconscious works is it's a repository. It's like a huge data bank. And if you see something, the data bank automatically goes in and you get what that is like. Okay, for example, anybody agree we eat certain foods? Okay, and we react to certain foods. Conversations, everything occurs based upon what's happened to us in the past. So do you see that it's one huge loop, energy loop, that keeps repeating itself over and over and over again? I'm just thinking North Carolina is different than Texas, yes? Now, you would spend how many years in North Carolina? 16, okay. So there is a difference wherever you go. We lived in Spokane, Washington for a while. The language is different up there, okay? Anybody ever been, I was born in the Northeast and moved to the South. Totally different language, totally different conversation, okay? Here's the good old boys, and up there you can't call them good old boys, you're in trouble. So we all learn this is the correct way to do things, okay? And it keeps repeating itself over and over and over again, okay? Now, that's in what we call the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is always the past. It's everything you've experienced. And if you stop and think about it, if you think about the future, would you agree you project the future into the past into the future? In other words, I gotta laugh. I'm sorry to bring this up, but everybody wants you to get married, right? Okay. Okay, and see that's a tribal issue. And when I say that, I meant the tribe of the group. Okay, because you need to be like us, and you need to be married. It's time. I'm laughing because I heard that too. Yeah, I was 29 when I finally got married. Okay, so there's all these what we call memes or marks or all those things. Okay, and we project that into our future. So, where is the possibility for change? See, the law of attraction says, as a person think in their heart, so are they. And science has pretty well proven that's true when you get into quantum dynamics and the string therapy. So here we are. What you think about, you create, and all I think is a repository of what's happened in the past. Okay, and then I think about the future, and I take the past and put it into the future. So where's the possibility for change is only in the present moment. And the Bible's full of be still and know that I am God. Be still. And modern, anybody here been, no, I'm not going to ask that one. I was going to ask anybody who's been in counseling. But any modern psychology today is being still. Meditation is now known to produce changes because it occurs in the present moment. It's like you're sitting in your chair now. Would you agree you don't even think about the chair you're sitting in? Yes? And yet what's holding you up? And why are you sitting there not even thinking about what's holding you up? Because you've been so programmed to believe this is the way life is that you accept it automatically. Okay? So if I want to change things, where do I change them? You see, I believe, and I share this is where we're going. On a spiritual level, we radiate energies. A lot of scientists now, they know that there's an energy at least 8 foot in diameter around you that's transmitting from you. Okay? They also know that we pick up energy from a source we don't know about. Could be God, but anyway. And so we are radiating energies. And we're creating the world around us based upon our thinking. Everybody got it? And so we're thinking from the past and we wonder why things don't change. Okay? So how do I really get to the point where I can create change? Because if you really stop and think about it, if you are a child of God, and I use that term on purpose, what are we born into? Why would God want his child to live without sustenance, without food, without a place to live, without abundance? Did you know in most of the spiritual, let's call them spiritual things that come through, they use the word abundance. Abundance. There's an abundance. You look at a tree, that tree out there, that big old tree, how many leaves does it have on it? And how many acorns does it create? Everything is in abundance. Everything has enough, except for who? Mankind. Why? Because we're stuck in a subconscious loop that we've been told, don't get your hopes up, boy, don't expect too much. You know, and it's all that negative conversation. Now, Larry, thank you. Did you hear the songs we started with? I am whole, and you are whole. John 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So our words that we speak are creative, and if you're a child of God, you have that same power. And that's our belief. So we go up here in the present moment. So how do you get in the present moment? Anybody share? It's an interesting conversation. Okay? And that's be still and know that I am God. Now, a lot of people want to be excited. A lot of people want to be pumped up. I go back to my days when I was on the circuit doing that kind of stuff. And what happens is, and if you don't realize it, you will, in that environment, you get all pumped up, and then you come down just the same way, usually within a week or two. So the conversation of being excited and being motivated, see, moving to action, motivation. So motivation occurs from where? From within. It's not something from without. So again, the kingdom of heaven is within. So as a human being, who are we? So the question becomes, where is change? Where does change take place? Change takes place on the inside and works its way to the outside. Madeline and I spent some time with a guy by the name of Lou Tice. And a lot of people haven't heard of him. He was a major speaker. Most of us hadn't heard of him because he used to charge big dollars, $50,000 just to hear him. Okay? And his famous statement that I remember over and over again, all meaningful and lasting change takes place on the inside and works its way to the outside. Okay? So in the present moment is the time to create change. And the only way to be in the present moment is to be quiet, to be still, and to do the meditation work. Okay? I got myself that I haven't even done anything here. Okay? I know you're going to laugh at me. It's interesting to me because the whole thing is so simple. We have made things so complicated, and the world around us has become so academic, and there's so many ideas that we get overwhelmed with what's right and what's wrong. And the truth is, nothing is right and nothing is wrong, only you and your heart and what you do with those conversations. Again, Charles Fillmore was the founder of Unity, and we've been studying this, okay? And he said the purpose and nature of the subconscious mind is to reproduce what you already know. You hear that?
You said that again, one more time. The purpose of the conscious mind.
The purpose and nature of the subconscious mind is to reproduce what's happened. Stop and think about it. See, in a computer, we call it garbage in, garbage out. Okay, and usually if the computer's wrong, it's not the computer, it's the code. See, and then we go back to the Christ code. You, as a human being, already have everything you need. That's our promise. In most of the scriptures, including the Hindu scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures, you are there. You already have a code for everything you need. Okay? And the code has been corrupted by the conversation which has been stored in the subconscious mind. Make sense? And so it's that simple, but the world wants to make it complicated and tell you you're going to hell unless you do it my way. Okay, the only way that's true is you. Okay, so the kingdom of heaven is within you. You are the child. And that's why we talk about sovereignty of a human being. Nobody knows what's better for you, which is interesting. Now, not everybody takes that, and not everybody's ready for that. And that's where we are. We're building a spiritual community, okay? So I'm preaching. I'm going to shut up. It bugs me, okay? I watch people get upset because they don't have something, and yet all they have to do is learn how to get in the present and change their thinking, and their life changes, okay? There's so many stories of people that have come from obscurity and suddenly done wonderful things. They just got a hold of that idea, okay? So the kingdom of heaven is within. The Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, which is the promises we've had. And everybody says, no, you're going to hell, which is, and by the way, I know there's too much of stuff. The word hell comes from the phrase Gehenna. Gehenna was the place where they burned all the garbage in the local. So all we're doing is burning off the garbage and we'll be returning to the Christ self. So, having said that, I've had enough. Anybody have? You guys are being very quiet.
You've been saying everybody.
Everybody, I apologize. It's not a select few. It's those that are ready to hear. It's like conscious. Remember the reticular activator system? If you're not ready to hear it, you don't hear it. Okay? So everybody has to be on a search, and that's why the consciousness is increasing. Though it's look at what's happening in the world. Okay, we're even getting electric cars. Larry.
For a question, do we reprogram our subconscious, or do we allow the Christ to come through us directly?
Thank you. Did you hear what he asked? See, when I was on the circuit doing this work, it's the affirmation, create the picture in your mind, repeat it over and over again. You go right back to Think and Grow Rich, reconditioning the mind. And the Bible says reconditioning the mind, okay? However, the code is already there. That's what we miss, okay, if that makes sense. So I can. Matter of fact, the short version is being present and allowing the code to take over. The long thing is to clean out the human brain with affirmations.
So we can take the short path or the long path.
Yeah. Okay. It's really, and see, that's what's happening. Somebody got all this idea and now they've gone halfway, but not all the way. It's a spiritual conversation. It's not a physical conversation. Chris. Good.
Should I wait for the mic? Yeah, please.
Well, I don't know what you're going to ask. I was off. See,
You want to hear it first?
I've been off on a tangent. I really have been.
So it's a free gift. It's grace.
Grace.
It's
grace.
already here.
Yeah.
So my emphasis is not on creating change. My emphasis is gratitude.
Yeah.
Appreciate what's right here already.
And see, gratitude is, again, I was trying to, we could go off on all kinds of things. It's really gratitude, forgiveness, okay, and being present. But the gratitude and forgiveness are true, because those are the two issues that create problems. Because if I'm thankful, I'm going to create more of what I'm thankful for. It's like a no-brainer, right? So thank you. What else? Good. You know the key? Getting people to do it. It becomes a lifestyle. Okay? And sometimes it's like, how do you get that? And you see people, so thank you for that. Good. Nothing else? Okay. Everybody else? Okay. Right back. What are the promises? Kingdom of heaven is within. The Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. By grace are you saved by faith. What does safe mean? Safe. Okay. By faith, what? Because you believe it. Okay. So I'm finished. Bye.
Thank you.